So we're here backstage at Cropredy with, I don't know whether veteran is quite the right word, actually, but you and I have been right at the heart of all of this for so many years now, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the changes that have taken place in terms of festival staging through the years, and particularly Cropredy, Ashley, what are the key things that you've noticed that are different now from the way things were?
Well, we could start with the equipment. When I started back in the late 60s, we didn't have monitors for a start on stage, couldn't hear what you were doing. The equipment was much smaller, much less sophisticated. Crowds were bigger than they are now in some festivals, although Cropredy has a great following, and it's sold out this year. Things are just more civilized, proper loos and so forth.
The organisation.
Yeah.
The ownership of festivals as well seems to me to have changed through the years. When you think of somewhere, like Glastonbury, compared with, say, Isle of Wight in 68, let's say.
Yes.
Isle of Wight 68, the ownership of that festival, it was owned by the fans, wasn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of festivals nowadays are kind of owned by the corporate sponsors, aren't they? But that's not the case with Cropredy, is it? This has always maintained this ethos of a great atmosphere, family atmosphere.
It is. We think of it as the Fairport family. That's what we do, I played with Fairport at that 68 first Isle of Wight festival, and it was very amateurish, but fun. And yes, this bucks the trend of the Cropredy festival, doesn't it?
It does.
It has nothing to do with corporate businesses.
Yeah. And, I mean, you're still so involved in the heart of everything. You've got a wonderfully creative son who's doing brilliantly too. Blair Dunlop has done sessions for us now under the apple tree here. And how would you describe now the projects that you're beginning to take on? The book, for example, Ashley, this is a real kind of work of art, isn't it?
Well, there's so much I could say. First of all, I was ill, very ill, and I missed last year's Cropredy. And laying in my bed at home, I thought, is this the end? It was that bad. What do I want to do before I die? And this was a blessing in disguise, because since then, since last autumn, I've put out a book, 2 albums, and I've managed to get re-released my favourite album that I've ever made, which is by Gloucester Docks, I Sat Down and Wept, and done other things as well. So it really got me going, and by working I forgot about, forget about your illness and you just get on with your work. So that's great. But also, of course, Blair, my son, is 22, he keeps me young.
Yes.
And that's fantastic. Yeah.
Well, same with my son Miles, who's on the mixing desk as we speak. Miles is 22 as well. And,
great. Well, Miles and Blair play football, I hear,
that's
together.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So just describe the book to us, what it actually is. Okay,
well, it's my selection of what I consider to be some of the best of my writings down the years. Song lyrics, poetry. A lot of people don't know I write poetry. And album sleeve notes. That might sound a bit boring, but my album sleeve notes seem to be very different from other people's, So I'd like to read something, if I may.
Please do.
Okay,
yes.
I'll just read one thing. It's a song lyric that I wrote in recent times, probably about 8 years ago, something like that. But it was looking back to the memory of Fairport at the very beginning. In 1967, when we started, we were part of the psychedelic scene, and we would play 3 sets a night, sometimes in some of the clubs like the Speakeasy and Blazes, Happening 44, these exotic clubs.
I was there at quite a few of them.
Well, you'd play 3 half hours, and you'd crawl out about 4 a.m. and get in the van, and eventually been dropped off at home, because we all lived in London, we were all youngsters, and the dawn chorus had started, and the milkman was doing his rounds, and anyway, I wrote this lyric.
It's also worth saying, I'm sure most people watching this would know, But Fairport, as good as invented an entire new genre of music at that time, didn't you? I mean, this wonderful combination of folk music with electric rock. Nobody had really ventured into that before.
Not over this side, no, because Bob Dylan and the Byrds in particular had in America. But we, when we made Legion Leaf, which was our classic album, Fairport, in the late 60s, we were kind of doing what we thought was a British version of The Band, Bob Dylan's The Band, and who we loved. But we did it our own way. We were playing our own historic tradition, but with the instruments that we knew, which are electric guitars and drums, and it just came naturally to us. We had to work at it a bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's incredible to think now that 3 of the most important albums by British artists were released in the same year, 69. Your 3 albums, Unhalf-Bricking, What We Did on Our Holidays, and Legion Leaf, all came out in the same year.
It's remarkable, isn't it, to think about it, People release albums every few years now. One an album.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is a sort of reflection.
This is a reflection. It's a song lyric, but I think it works just as, just to be read. I learned about dawn when I started to gig, playing late and then travelling home through the night, sharing a van with a PA rig and tumbling out in emerging light. I'd nod to a tramp or chat to a cat as the milkman was gliding along on his float. Over my ears I would pull my hat, and close to my body I'd hug my coat. Chorus. Then in the gloom came a chorus of birds. It started as light as a passing breeze and swelled to a symphony, challenging words from an orchestra hidden in the trees. Now I live in the country. When I can't sleep, I stand by the window and taste the air. Out in the fields there are shapes of sheep, and a fox trots on to who knows where. Then in the gloom came a chorus of birds. It started as light as a passing breeze and swelled to a symphony, challenging words from an orchestra hidden in the trees. It's the time of day when the mind plays tricks, half asleep, half awake, caught in between. Over and over I try to fix on an image at dawn that I've lately seen. A spluttering van comes over the rise and unloads its cargo of crumpled youth. I can just about see through misty eyes the very first band where I learned the truth that dawn is the holiest time of all. In town and country it's just the same, and everything special you may recall is remembered best in this daybreak frame. Then in the gloom came a chorus of birds. It started as light as a passing breeze and swelled to a symphony, challenging words from an orchestra hidden in the trees. About dawn.
That's lovely, actually. It's a historic moment because this is our first spoken word session, isn't it, under the apple tree?
Hey,
with
first again.
Ashley Hutchings, yeah. So people can get the book now.
Yeah, the book is called Words, 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 and it's available from Talking Elephant Records, yeah.
Well, good luck with everything,
Thank
Ashley.
you.
It's lovely to see you, as it always is.
Bless you.
Thank you very much.